Good morning, citizens of the realm. I wanted to talk about today is what they mean by diversity is our strength and the English are tolerant, right? Because these, in my opinion, these are military coded terms in a sense. The left is, and always has been, a militant kind of thing. Let me take the hat off. Um, so, what do they mean by diversity is our strength and are the English tolerant? The English are tolerant nation, tolerant people. So diversity our strength basically means not that a diverse society is good for us, which is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, oh, as English people, diversity is good for you. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that we have strength in numbers. We will bring in a diverse army, and in that army and in that number of diverse people, we have strength. It's military coded. That's what it means. It's not said for the benefit of us, the English. It is said for the benefit of them, the other. This is basically or another example of how the left manipulate language, and how they will brazenly lie to you because they are morally relevant. So therefore, the issue of truth is subjective, and morals are subjective depending on what the revolution needs. So again, diversity is our strength. Doesn't mean that it's good for us, the English. It means it is good for the diverse peoples because they have strength in numbers. Okay. Why do they need strength in numbers? Because ultimately the goal is to foment violent revolution. That is always the goal. It's always the outcome. The Fabians have tried to do it so that you don't foment violent revolution, and it's a very slow, manipulative death. But the radical jihadis and the radical leftists, they want violent revolution. The next one is the English are tolerant. Again, it's a coded term. Now I'm going to go back to, I'm going to use the example from ancient China because I think it's a very good description of the word tolerant in the ancient Chinese. So in China, you have three basic principles that they say everything righteous governs from three basic principles, which are truth, compassion, and tolerance. Now, in China, you can see the truth was emanated through the Taoist religions, compassion was emanated through the Buddhist religions, and tolerance was emanated through Confucianism. Now, in China, the word for or the character for tolerance doesn't translate simply as tolerance in English. It also translates as forbearance. So in forbearance, what it means is the ability to forbear humiliation and the ability to forbear hardship whilst keeping your character intact and your emotions in check. That's what it means. So when someone characterizes a people as tolerant, what they mean is that you have a great capacity to withstand humiliation and hardship. And that is precisely what they mean. What they mean by when they say the English are tolerant is that we will humiliate you, we will put you through this humiliation ritual, and you will withstand it, and we will ruin your quality of life. We will take you from one of the richest nations in the world to one of the lowest per capita GDP nations in the West, and you will tolerate it. You will be chipper. You will go into the London Underground and into the pubs like you did during the Blitz and sing songs because you are the English and you are tolerant, my friend. And that's what they mean. They mean that they will bring in people who dislike us, who want to ruin our way of life, who want to bring our quality of life down. And some of them don't mind it. That's just how they are. You got to look at, in India, the streets are an open latrine. The rivers are an open latrine. They'll cook on the floor with rats running through the food. We're not the same. But these people, it doesn't mean that in their hearts they are bad people. It just means that they have different living standards, and our standards should be preserved because we fought hard to make them. And we've always had a very clean way of living. So they know that this will degrade our culture and our society, but because we are quote unquote tolerant, we will put up with that. Again, I'll recap. Diversity is our strength means they have strength in numbers, and the English are tolerant means that you will withstand this humiliation ritual. You will withstand this poverty-inducing exercise because ultimately we want to replace you. And that is what those terms mean. You will accept your slow death and you will be happy about it. And we need to understand and push back whenever they say these terms because it is not what they're telling you it is. Tolerance is not superficial kindness to everyone. The English always extended manners to people. Okay, always. Everyone got a basic courtesy of manners until we could size the individual up, and then we would decide whether we gave them more graces or we withdrew them. And that's just how we are. The English were never known as being tolerant, and you can find writings on this going back 1,000 years that the English were intolerant. We were incredibly intolerant of evil, and we were incredibly intolerant of Islam. And had the First World War not happened, within about 10 or 20 years, we would have completely annihilated the Ottomans and destroyed the Islamic Caliphate completely, because our technological innovations were outstripping them at a race of knots, and we could not abide by how they lived their lives. Things like The Handmaid's Tale, which was written as some sort of Christian fear porn, that was the Ottomans. If you want to know where that came from the Ottomans. That's exactly how the Ottomans lived, and it's exactly how they used the women in occupation. So we need to understand what it is. We need to understand that we are not tolerant. We are incredibly intolerant of evil. We were incredibly intolerant of Islam. And this isn't a condemnation on any individual people. And it genuinely isn't, because Islam is a little bit like the Met or the police or the CIA or the secret services. It is a lot of decent people in a bad system. Unfortunately, we've imported a lot of bad people from a bad system into the West. And that will change. It's not just going to be mass deportations or immigration, it's going to be mass expulsions. So yes, understand what they mean, push back on it. We are not tolerant. We have never been tolerant of our own destruction and our own demise, and we should not be tolerant of our own destruction and our own demise. We demand that we live in dignity, as we have done for 1,000 years. And this is undignified, and it is beneath what the English people should accept. So yes, diversity is not our strength, and we are not tolerant.